All right.
So energy and oil
So
here, huh?
yeah, so the if you're in the room, you should have some oil already, I would hope, or you've maybe you took the win. But we had some great entries on a lot of them. Oxy comes to mind, Devon, of course. But there's a lot happening in option flow that I think makes this session worth it. So, and I'm going to include these oil, natural gas, kind of stocks in there too. So, how did you want to do this in terms of going through some top names, or what? Well, I guess we'll start. What's your general impression of the sector? How do you typically trade oil? That kind of thing.
I trade most oil. Most of my oil charts have one line on them, um, and I kind of just check on them when you bring up the oil price. I like to trade off the price of oil, kind of like we do Bitcoin.
Yeah.
It's a little slower than Bitcoin, and we're trending up. That 72 to 80 was kind of my range. Going into the summer, I think we're gonna maybe approach upper 80s. So, kind of looking for higher lows on the charts. I just traded Dino probably a month ago. Um, I usually just can only pick one or two because only one or two line up on the TA side at the time. Um,
Yes.
that are news for me. Um, Energy is a little more murky for me because I mean, there's just so many, kind of hard to figure it out. But I'm really getting into the combo reads that you bring up because that does make sense to me, like CHK. Um, yeah, yeah. So it's kind of off of
Yeah.
you. It's always been off of you, to be honest. I mean, you got me into those names when we first started with that. Oxy caught my attention, obviously.
Yeah. And so when the way I trade them on, especially the option side is you get a lot closer to the money than you would on a tech stock, and because of they move slow, like we said, and you buy the extra time. Time is cheap in oil. It really is. So you can go months out, and you're really not paying that much more for that position. I like the share option combo. We are probably entering a phase in the oil market where some of these smalls are really going to start to move. So I definitely want to talk about those as well. And since this is an energy session, are we going to talk uranium as well? Are we?
Yeah, I would just try
Yeah.
to maybe get 15 to 20 names on this energy list here that are going to be good the next quarter or two. Um,
Well, okay. Good. Great. Yeah, I like it. So I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through some of those. I'll do the oil, natural gas first, and then kind of give you the flow read on that, and then we'll talk about uranium towards the end, and a little commentary on some other alt energy too. All right, so my kind of number one smaller stock I've been on is CRK, and I'm interested TA side what you see. For me, flow wise, we already got this move that off the bottom about 750 where I entered that. Went out at 850. It's pulled back. $8 area is very important in options. I got leaps to 13 on this, and through the summer, a lot of 9C, 10C as well. So this is Jerry Jones Oil Company. I do see like my target's 13, always has been, but I think you kind of move in and out on that one.
I always try to put my cursor where I want you to mention a level when before you start talking.
Yeah.
My cursor's at 1265. It's a
Okay.
top
So there it is. Yeah.
top shelf of this volume profile. If you look at volume profile, the eight's building. Six was the level on the 10-year, which this is the large time frame. It's going to be eight the more we consolidate here. That will be volume profile, say in a couple weeks, depending on the
Yeah.
volume. I think the move to 12 is imminent. When we get there, I'd be looking for 16s. But it's a little thick, but yeah, it's gonna happen. Probably a slower moving play, which is the theme of the sector.
Yes, and so the it is a natural gas stock almost. I mean, almost exclusively. Like that's their big thing. But it doesn't get punished like a natural gas ETF does on a bad day, and that's what you want, and that's why I like these, because natural gas does have just a ton of room, and if that were to have an explosive move and jump 50%, which isn't that much in terms of dollars and cents given where it is, um, that's when you would see this make a $2 move in like a week. So that's why I like that one. Um, Next one I like, and these are in kind of in no particular order. Um, AR.
Yeah.
This you I know you caught this one for a
Yep.
pretty nice trade fairly recently. All right, so this one the June calls run up to 40. There is a lot around the like 35 area. Monthlies 30, 32. So then, the question is kind of where the sold puts landing. Some at 26, a lot of sold puts at 20, 25, though. So more room above than below for sure on my end.
Yeah, I think you're just getting like the 20% build off of this 2110 auto RTL that I have. That I mean, you could see it on like a 3 year, um, yeah, about a 3 year level where it came up and it was resistance, had a big breakout, came back. It's confirming as support now. So the ads between 21 to 25 probably be the best right now. We're just building another level of support here. Um, Gets through the 30 cycle, it's going to move fast. I would assume
Yes.
the price of the commodity, the natural gas, is going to be the what pushes this. Because this spike back here was when we got up in what was it, $7 in natural gas. It was around that time that this happened. So I don't think we get to 7 in natural gas again, but I do think we're going to get out of the basement at some point in time.
Good. So next up for me, now I got in this about 42.50, and so it's 48 now, but there's just so much room to go. It's Devon. And
Yeah,
on my end, what I got to pivot on this at 40, about 40, yeah, 49.19. Really old line. Not sure how that lines up to you, but it's basically a 49 to 55.60 trade. So a lot of 55C in the summer and fall, and then the leaps run to 60 on this. I don't know that we'll get that top up at 72 that we had before. Probably not, but 60 is my target for this.
I another good example again, TA side, just quick for everybody. This had that big run. Kind of had 53.78, which lines up with the 55s professor's talking about as support. It broke down. It completely failed. Then it caught the 200 SMA on the weekly. If you search the group, that's when I mentioned it. It's had a stellar run since then and a flow still in. Top line is 60 to me. I think this should be a 53 to $60 stock. Um, that's where I trade it to from here. I think you're fine as long as I think we said under 50, you're fine here. For me, 50 to
Yeah,
55 is 10%. That's 10%. Make that cool again, please.
right. All right, so this next one, um, really curious on your take on this, and we mentioned it after had a pretty big drop, and they got political issues here and there. But PBR, it's a Brazilian oil stock,
Yeah.
and this I've traded it. I did 8 to 10. I've done 10 to 14, and now that it's coming back there, 14 is my floor on it, and I've got flow to 18 in the summer, and then let me see if I have any 20 leaps. Yeah, there they are, 22.50 and 20 C leaps.
Um, for me, we're consolidating around 15. Um, it has a lot. It has wide range in that
Yeah,
regard. 11 currently perfect entry. Doubt we get down there again. That news flush should have done it. Just needs time for me at this level. Um, you can see it on the shorter time frames that we just need to build a little bit more here. Although 1471 is your 1 year volume profile, so someone doesn't want this under 1450. I think that would be a good spot to take a risk on this one. Also an all-time high chart, so that's why it doesn't like wake me up. I don't really have anything over 18. Um,
Yeah.
but it's there. I mean, it's totally there. The longer we hang out here, the better, in my opinion.
The
Um,
way to the way to trade this, I mean, unless you're doing, I mean, shares obviously, but if you're doing options, this is one of those where I talked about time is cheap. You go in the money and you buy a leap. So you can imagine what 8C did when it was $10 or what 10C did when it was $14. That's what I do on this. So really low stress, don't even look at it every day kind of thing. But yeah, good cheap one.
how many do you have here, Professor? Because that's gonna determine how many of these I take over. Like, do you have 30?
No,
How many do you
I
have
got
in
10
here?
oil plates. I got 10 oil stocks.
You only got 10 here. Okay, then we're
Well,
gonna
yeah.
we'll put them on the list then.
Okay, cool.
We'll just call it
Uh,
like a highlight list.
yeah, that's kind of my approach here.
Okay,
Um, APA.
Apache, right? Is it
Yep.
Apache? Yeah.
So this one, you did have a good shot after earnings, had a nice flush. But again, it's kind of setting up again. 32 to 36 is a no-brainer to me. May calls put it there. And then you go further out, 42, 44C. This to me is the oil stock that 50% share side is not even going to be a big deal. Like it once it just starts grinding up, that's where it's probably going to go. So I like it in that regard. It checked down a little bit below where I typically would see it. So a little bit like Devon, I guess it kind of failed, but then reestablished itself. 32 is a huge spot, and that's where I like ads on it.
Good time to say it because of the Devon comparison. It's kind of why I stress the 250 regularly, especially on boring or bigger names. It's well respected. You can see it on this chart. The 200 was the floor. Um, I mean, it spent 5 weeks down there, but coming back up to our channel. Our channel is 33.41 to 40. I think we also do what we did back here, which is have some consolidation around this lower level for a little bit. Hopefully enough to turn that into center of volume profile because it's $10 right now. That would be exactly what I would like to see here. $40, $45 stock in my opinion.
Great. Then while we're doing the greatest hits, I got Dino.
Yeah, here we go, bud.
Yeah, Dino had a big day today. Um, this one is interesting because I talk about oil stocks maybe struggling with previous highs and all that. This has a flow set up to bust through to $80 or $90, and the trade from here, I do think that like 68, 70 area in the summer calls, is there, but it can go a lot higher than that on my end.
Yeah, 53, 55, or 55, 53 if you're greedy ads. Um, that's where it was at for me. I already traded this. Um, I won't buy it over 60, so I'm going to look for a higher low when it comes back, unless the flow is short term. But I like trading this
Yeah.
stock from share side, to be honest with you.
Yes, no, it is. It's really good in that regard. And the shares are better because the spreads can get a little funky on that one. You don't really that's not something you want to mess with unless you use it to your advantage and snipe a good mid price. All right, so next up for me, this is one I've been waiting on for a while. SD.
Sandridge, right? Yep.
Yes. All right, so Sandridge caught that first big run. They they had a bankruptcy and like restructuring, caught that huge move and all that. But I got July 17.5C, October 20C, and leaps are 25. So flows kind of close to 100% on this. And to me, 14 to 1750 makes a lot of sense. And the 14 to 20 trade makes some sense too.
I'm gonna have to say it again. And I only say it because I think it's important. I think it makes it a lot easier for people. But the 50 and the 200 on the weekly on these damn energy stocks is what you're looking for. It's consolidating around the 50 right now. Really nothing up here in the volume profile, which just tells me on the 10-year, which tells me it's heavily insider owned. But if you kick down to a 3-year 12, it's 12s. So we're just building on 12s. Our original lines are 17, 32, 20 to 50. That's where the flow's at. Um, can't really predict the time, so buy yourself time or DCA into shares. That's what I do here and will continue to do here.
Good. Next up for me is Rig.
Ooh,
And
speaking my
this
love language now.
so this has 6 to 8 written all over it in May and June calls. A lot of 7C, 8C looks. Leaps are 10 and 12. So again, 100% share side flow. Really, I enter this looking for about 40% share side, and that's pretty modest. But you'll get your 20% at least, I think, and then you can start to move out.
Yeah, this 660 auto RTO was pretty good the first move. Got up to 9. Got a higher low if you look at larger time frames. Did kind of pull back a little bit just to start the year, which I think it was oversold. Probably an $8 to $9 stock in my opinion. Which from 6, that's close to 50%, depending on how you slice it. So no, I love Rig. I also know the story of the company. They have offshore units, like deep drilling well units, whatever they are. They're all rented out in 2026 for some reason, or 2025 to 2026. They're just right now not making money. Um, but when your entire fleet is rented in the future, probably for political reasons, that's a pretty good setup in my opinion. They're not going away because they already have the business.
Yes, yeah, I'm definitely with you there. So there's one. I'm actually not. I'm not gonna add this to our list because it's checked out, and it's MRO, and we are pounding the table on MRO. I just wanted to bring it up because this is how the sector is right now. There's some that have just they're just gone. I said 26 on MRO. It's 27. My line on it was 21.83, and just tap that very briefly. Said like the ads under 22, and it's just gone. So this is kind of the character of the sector, that there's some laggers, and so that's kind of where our focus is. I kind of feel the same way about Oxy right now, but because it is a favorite of mine, I do just want to talk about Oxy Flow briefly.
Yeah, to me, they're the same thing. I mean, I got both of these. They have these high one line charts, which I was able to
Yeah.
trade them. I was able to trade these off this one line. I'm 21.61. We're a couple cents off there. We ran into an auto RTL here at 26.78, or 27, whatever you want to call it. I think we'll consolidate there. But this, I mean, if this gets 35s and it sits at this level for a while, it's tradable again, especially if the oil price continue the way they are.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm waiting for. Same deal, with Oxy, you get flow run into 72 into the summer, so very plausible. I think for me, I do have a line on Oxy at 62.93, so there's definitely a shot there. Really, the 58 and change was kind of what we were. Uh, okay, well, I had 56.99 and then 58.50. Those were my two levels down there. But all right, so there's that one, and then
I think this is more tradable just because of the Buffett effect currently. I would want under 60s. Um, don't search the group. $56. You pick the change. That was the
Yeah.
note. That was the note on that. I don't have the upper levels there, but I do have them on my chart or on my volume profile. I have 6312. Is building very well. So any pullbacks here, back sub 60 right now is probably your best entry.
And Exxon checked out too. We said that. I mean, my whole take on Exxon was whales are going to lose a lot of money if it's under $100 for very long. And rather than repositioning, it's easier for them to just hold it there, and then it makes a move. Um, Pop, we had a good pullback on Pop at 108. I talked about it, 121 now. So yeah, again, there's just so many of these that have just taken off. So I'm going to go back to one of our newer ones.
What about? Can I
Is
ask? Can I ask about one real
yeah,
quick? Chevron
yeah, yeah.
CVA
That was oh yeah. Let me
or excuse me
uh,
CVX.
CVX. Yeah. So Chevron, because they had that huge drop on earnings, is setting up pretty nicely here. And let me grab that. Um, yeah, so I've got like April 165, June 170.
Yeah,
That 170 spot is pretty big.
yeah.
I would look for that. Those contracts are about $130 too, so
Do you have
price is
downside?
great.
Is it 145, 140? Is it or just like
Um,
not a thing in those? They're just so big.
there just isn't much of an appetite for puts. It's 147 is
Jesus.
about all you'll see there.
I think we get that in the summer, P. I really do. This is a lagger in the sector from a TA standpoint.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that one's worth a look for sure. Um, Hess,
Double S?
yes, or no, it's just HES. Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, yeah, the company's double S.
Yeah,
The
yeah,
ticker's just HES though. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, okay, so this is a oil natural gas play, mostly oil, but they do have natural gas. And again, you get this 150 to 170 look. 170C is June, 180C in June, and then 180C is the spot in leaps as well. Another one without much of a much in puts. There's sold puts at 149. There are some puts at 146. I think that's about the best you're going to do. So I just really don't get cute with it. I just I want it under $150 and willing to do a couple buys in that area and then go from there.
Beating the fucking table over the head with this one, but 50 SMA on the weekly, the 200 and the 50. This thing has rode it for 1, 2, 3. We're in the fourth year of riding the 50 when it came up out of a pretty big run, 2020. What I like about volume profile here, yes, we do have 52. That just tells me it's a lot of insider ownership. So I look what's closest. This level right here on the 10-year chart, this is building well, especially when you compare it to the last three shelves down here, these little baby bumps. So we're building well. So you bump into a smaller time frame. 1 year is 143. 3 year is 143. Both of them are volume profile breakouts, meaning right here at like 170, there's nothing above on both charts. So if we have flow that exceeds 170, these are A plus setups for me, especially since we have such a good level of support. I wouldn't add over this 153 auto RTL currently. That would be my breakoff point. For where this chart's at, it's in great shape for more.
Yeah, very good. OBE.
Let's go. Obsidian,
So
right?
this,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
yep,
yeah, yeah.
Obsidian.
Yeah, let's go. Speaking my
So I
language.
got I got May 10C. I got July 15C.
um, keep going. Keep going.
Sold put 7.5
Yeah. So,
in May.
so for me, these oil plays in general that he brings up are real hard. Even like Oxy and MRO and all that. And Dino even it's a 100 share trade for me, and that's still a pretty large position on those ones that are 50, $60. So when I can get one down here that's 6, 7, 8, $10, much better like it for me. 619, 895 is our channel. Don't search the group. We called this a little bit ago. 680 is the 10-year volume profile. Um, yeah, I think we continue to complete this channel and check out. Um, Entry here is more of scaling out for me, but with a $10 flow read, sub eights are fine. That's still 20%.
Very good. And so before I got two more before I get to uranium. So these are cheap, but I just I'm looking at the like one of them was just in our previous session. I it kind of reminded me of it, so I dug a little bit and want to talk about it. But the first is nine. I don't think two is going to break down, and so because it's $2.19, then I look for upside. I got October 4C, and I've got Leaps at 3C. Um, so yeah, so that stands out. There's still some open interest at 5C in the Leaps as well. I think from the previous run, they just they kept some. But the thing about a stock like this, when options are still out there, if those options wake up, they'll go ahead and just send it there. And so you could really see something going. Realistic trade here is 2 to 3, but when that move starts, flow is going to pile in. So this is kind of anticipatory flow. I just think it's in a good spot right here around $2.
210, bottom line on the chart. 317, top level on the chart. Little history. I missed this probably. Man, it was a while ago. I guess it was that long ago. This is 21. We missed this. I think it was $5 or $6. Professor said no. There's a lot more. Put this upper line on here at 8. It consolidated on it. He got the flow reads. They just kept stacking in. Was tradable even though we missed this. This thing went to $16.
Yeah.
Back
Yeah.
down here in the original channel. Has a lot to do with the float and the share structure, why it will move like that. So again, it's 50% in the channel, and then sky's the limit if we do get a little bit of the squeeze happening here, because that's probably what it is. 210 though, my levels are real.
And then HUSA. I was
You mother.
pretty much set to boot this one, but May 2C got me interested, and then just the contracts that are out there on May 3 and 4C and January 3, 4, 5C. Just another one that I think if it just gets a spark, if it gets to $2, that could really wake it up and it could take off. But trading from down here to $2, that in and of itself is a pretty big move. So kind of a crappy one, size accordingly. But we're in an environment where I think these names are going to wake back up, and so we want to be ready for that.
Man, I woke up one morning after buying this on a Friday, and and I was up 5 grand. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
dollar psych down here though. I don't really have a level way low here. I'd
yeah,
rather trade it off the $2, $1.88, $1.50 maybe even for a starter, and maybe take your time scaling in. But when this thing goes, it just go. You can see it right here. When it goes, it's just a gap up. When it goes, it's just a gap up.
yeah.
Probably more of a $4 stock. Um, but the timing it is damn near impossible, to be honest. I forgot what the news was that Friday, but I bought it that Friday, and yeah, I woke up Monday, it was up 5 grand, and I sold it, and it went a lot farther. I could have been up like 8 or 9 grand if I would have held it, but you know me, I'm paper hand king.
So I know a lot of people in oil, just with where I'm from, Oklahoma, and I know some guys who were in this company, well, they still are, and so they just give them stock, and they're just like, we're like, okay, big whoop, thanks for my $1.50 stock, whatever. But they just happened to be vested when it to me that it took off like that. So kind of a huge windfall for them. You can just imagine getting your free shares and all of a sudden, your dollar something shares are, 10, $12. So,
thousand
you know,
percent
good deal for them.
overnight.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna take a day off from work on that. All right, so yeah, that's my oil stuff. I mean, obviously, I have a lot of other oil plays that come in. Do you maybe want to talk a little bit of coal with you?
Can I run a couple?
Um,
Can I run a couple by you that I just have notes on here
yeah, yeah,
while we're
absolutely.
at it? SWN. I don't know if they're oil, but they just popped in my head when we were here. You know me.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, so this looks pretty good. September 9C, January 10C, June 8C.
Dang. Would you have putters at all? Feels to me like 657 is going to confirm here, and then we're going to the levels you're talking about.
Sold puts at 6 for June,
6 for June.
but there's almost no puts on this.
Wow.
It's all calls.
Worthy of the list.
Yes. Yeah.
And then KOS.
No, Cosmos.
Yeah, in between the 50 and the
Yeah,
200 here, 625 confirming.
I've got June 7 and 8, and leaps are 10. That's
God,
kind of a common setup for something at this price point. So that, yeah, a 6 to 8 trade, some freebies to 10. That's kind of what it looks like here.
love it.
Puts, I do have puts at 6. Sold puts are at 5. I don't think that this one has 50-cent increments. So that's kind of, flush below 6 could happen, but not for long. 580, something like that.
Now you're a dollar, no 50 cents on this one.
Yeah.
Trying to see what this auto RTL is. Yeah, 566. This auto RTL. Here, we'll just do it. We'll just do it. Bam. There you go. And then bam. There you go. Just using the auto RTLs, create a channel there. I like it below 626, so we're good here now. And then last one for you next.
Yeah.
I beat the table off this goddamn thing earlier in the year, and you're like, "There's no flow, there's no flow, there's no flow." We haven't really made a
Yeah.
huge move, but that 450 is real for me on this side, with range to 7 or 8.
Yeah. The flow lands at 8 in July, and then 6C for April. So gonna kind of gonna walk that up.
Perfect. All right, back to you, sir.
All right. So wanted to talk a little bit of coal. If Trump wins, or the prospect of him winning is out there, very good for coal. So my first one is BTU. I got June 30C.
No 32, or is that too?
Um,
Is that too far? That's pretty far. I mean, it's 25%.
yeah, no, it's mostly 30.
Yeah, so we're again riding the 50 here. Kind of flip the 50 here at 23. I don't think you have much more downside. 23, maybe 22 is all you're going down. I have 32.81 as the top, but I was a little greedy on that top. It's a double top on the weekly. Um, so yeah, that makes sense. The setup is definitely there.
And then I've got
Better be tech.
METC.
Oh,
We're gonna talk tech too, yeah. Uh,
METC.
METC, yeah.
Big
Uh, just
level, yeah.
yeah, I've got September 20C, 22C. I've got 20C as early as April that I think is plausible. 18C April a better trade, but yeah.
I just threw a lineup 1604. It's building a huge S shelf on volume profile. This would probably be volume profile. Again, theme of the sector. If it didn't have the insider ownership down here at 8, they just gave away a lot of free shares down here. Um, this level's building very, very well. Kind of a resistance flipping to support now. Um, very good setup. Very, very good setup.
So the I say best for last on this. It is tech.
Yeah, it's
When I
right.
call when I call tech up in option flow, like it's just green just in my face, which means it's ask side calls. And I'll throw some strikes at you. January 50 55C, June 47C, 48C, June 50C. So it is very likely going somewhere between 50 and $55 this summer.
Yeah, you're again 50 SMA, kind of riding that over the last 2 years, higher lows the whole way, continuing. The next one, I mean, you can look back and cry about it, or you can try to figure out the next one. 41, I think, would be perfect ads if we could get those again. Very fluid on the way it moves. It doesn't move straight up. Kind of has good weeks, a pullback week or two, good weeks, pullback week or two. So this auto RTL line is where I'd try to add now if you haven't caught it already.
Yeah, very good stuff. All right, so then get into uranium. We know the names in uranium. There's CCJ, UUUU, and UEC. So we're not really adding anything new to the watch list here. DNN is worth a look sometimes, but I wanted to just give a flow update basically on these names. So the U's still just that 6 to 8 thing. They've punted 8C out to September, and there's some in July as well. But that September spot looks good to me. And then the leaps are still 10C on it. Some leaps at 13C as well.
Yeah, broken record, 200 SMA on the weekly. Respectful of that. I scalped this back to my 650 currently. Chart was so good before we had to put an upper level on it, 850. With those flow reads, it's almost like if you're in before then, you're going to be good.
Yeah,
Your last high is like 11, double top on the weekly back there in 21. Yeah, no, these are things that if you don't have boring stuff, if you came to this room tech focused or ETF focused, spy, I'm talking, this is a great
yeah.
place to start. Just a great place to get your boring start because there's a lot left on these, and our thesis is kind of long term with energy needs.
And UEC is very similar setup, a little more volume currently
Yes.
piling in on UEC lately. I've got and a little more urgency too. So I've got 7C for 419 and 426. I've got 8C November. I got January 10C.
Yeah, just added another line here, 641. You can see it kind of confirming it was resistance there about start of the or end of the year. Big run like most things beginning of the year. It came back down, just flipping this to support. We're way checked out from our levels on this guy, but again, uranium is the thesis is long term here. I think this is the best one currently.
I do too. Option side, I've talked about this before. I don't buy options in the U's or UEC. I buy shares in those. I buy my options in CCJ just because of how they move. I haven't bought shares in CCJ since it was $21. Still have some of those, but um, yeah. So anyway, so the option side on CCJ has it going to 55 and 60, and those are the leaps, and 48 in the summer, a little bit of 44 coming up in May. So that's yeah, that's what the look is there.
Do you think we get 37, 38s again here, or is 40 site gonna hold?
I I don't I don't it'd be pretty quick. So there's 38 sold puts are
Yeah.
really stacked up pretty high. So I don't really see that materializing.
So you're adding on the 40 psych, and then leaving yourself some room if you can get some at 38. That's the best way to play this from the share side. Um, what was
Yeah,
it?
and this uranium's coming out of a pretty big bear trap because it it had a big pullback, and it's like by the time retail traders noticed that and started trying to pile into puts, they all got killed doing that. So that those puts, a lot of them sorted themselves out on the 15th into April. You'll see some of that as well. As far as the actual commodity goes, we are coming off a pretty big pullback there. It was 85 a couple days ago. It's 88 right now, and there is a serious lag in futures because it's not publicly traded in the same sense as corn or oil or something. So those deals are negotiated privately, and then the news comes out. So we're in an uptrend in uranium. That 84, 85 area was about it for the pullback. So I think that runs back to 100 um, over the next month or two.
Is there a technical name for that? Is it spot traded or something like that? Is that what that's called? I read into it
That's
a little bit about it.
yeah. I'll have to check the vocabulary on that, but the the other big catalyst for uranium is a spot ETF, which doesn't exist in the U.S. right now. There's one in Canada. It's been denied a couple times for unclear reasons, from what I can tell. So that would be a pretty big catalyst for uranium, just to get a little bit more, a little bit more money flowing in on a daily basis. But
So
yeah,
the deals are done like Pelosi's trades. They're behind closed
yes,
doors, and you don't find out about them until like a week later when the deal's already done.
exactly. Yeah, but the thing is, the flow's already there
Yeah,
because somebody knows. So that's what I'm. That's why we do so well in uranium. I think. I mean, really, it's a pretty clean read for me.
yeah. By we he means him reading flow.
Yeah,
I take all the credit I can get.
yeah. And then let's um, let's talk solar for a minute. You want to talk solar?
No, but I will.
Uh,
I mean, I'll bag
I
on
want to.
solar for a minute. Let's
I'm going
go.
to take you. I want to take everyone through my last end phase trade. So last Monday, I said any spike over 132, I'm buying puts. It hung out above 132 for about 15 minutes, and then went from 132 to it finished 107. So I cleared out the last of my stuff on Friday, and now it's end phase that went up 4%. The This 120 area is something I have on it, but I still like these moves, these recoveries are just kind of relief. I'm not seeing much that's flow driven on it. So that is kind of worrisome if you're trading solar. I do think the better trade is to let it spike above these levels and then do puts on it. And then Sedge, absolute disaster. Um,
What's that ticker? S E E D G.
SEDJ or
Yeah,
SEDG.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. That's right.
DG. Okay, so there's some attempts here to do this kind of 65 to 70 thing, but I wanted you to look at the Sedge chart and tell me what do you do with a chart like this?
Well,
Because we're broke below that earnings drop, that last one that's had a bunch of them, but what does it need to do?
to me, it's the story of the sector, and I think we talked about it a while ago about how solar, like everyone that's going to buy solar panels and stuff like that, like they did it already. They did it when the credits were good, and that market is just, you're going to see that with the shitty EV names, non-legacy EV names in general coming up, everything but not Tesla. um, but like it's in a downtrend, and for me, I did that downtrend shit in 2021. When we just had a whole market that did that, and I hate trading shares in a downtrend because you get bagged. Right now, the
Yeah,
market just offers so much better stuff, and there's no real world catalyst for these guys at all. There's just not. Their market share is peaked already until we come up with maybe a better technology or more incentive to have solar panels. Like we're gonna have to have rolling brownouts everywhere, not just in California in the summer, before people are like, "Fuck,
Yeah.
I better get some solar panels." Like there's just not a lot of buyers left. Money's tight in general. Like who's spending extra money on that stuff? Like it's just not there for me as a sector. And then you look at any chart and they're just below any level I trust in a downtrend. And for me, I just move
Yeah.
on. I move on when that happens. Um,
Well, and this, well, like, okay, so run today,
yep,
run went up 10%,
yep.
right? So you're like, damn, 10%. And then, so someone who's new will say, I missed run. What did you miss though? Because, so like it was $12, um, yeah, like a week ago, 9 days ago,
Yeah.
and
We ain't even
had this
filled that
drop.
can. We
And
ain't even
then,
filled the candle. It's had one, two, let's say three off of 20 to start the year. I mean, it ran great in November. Yay! Never made it back to our channel. That's telling. It's called weakness. But then we just have
mhm,
these extreme drops, and we don't even recover those drops. You're trading in a downtrend. Like on the share side, that's dangerous. Like your entry's
yeah,
not coming back. Um,
yes.
and I just it's just not for me. If this thing hung out at this auto RTL, which is 1191, if we kind of hold 10 to 11 here for 6 weeks, I'll trade. I'll think about it, and that's exactly what happened here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. Then we had a pretty good pop, but you need to build some support somewhere before you just jump into these things. And
And
again, I'm talking as a share side trader.
yes, yeah. So option side, the basically Enphase has been the inverse of what I normally do. So when I'm really like laser focused on something, I will trade puts on it. I did that with coin to 220 because I was like, that's going to hit 220, one or two contracts max. Because my belief is upside, right? But it's going to pull back, and so Enphase, it's the opposite. I will trade short expiration calls to the spot where I want to buy puts, and then that's the trade. So that's kind of a grad school trade to me. I mean, if it's hard to get your mind thinking in reverse like that, and puts have this bad effect on traders to me. Like they relish it, right? It's like this: I'm killing this stock. Yeah, let's send it down. My puts are printing, and that methodology has not worked overall in the market. For a while now. So I kind of caution against that. But that's the only way I trade Enphase right now is I do some short expiration calls. I don't expect any of it to hold. You get the 3-4% moves, and then I do a fuller short when it gets there. I will say the only one that I like is First Solar
Yeah, yeah,
that I think is building some support.
yes.
I think ads under 150 can do pretty well here. You just take the win. Um, you're probably going to get 168, 172. There's some definite potential to kind of grind up to that. Option side, you buy calls under 150, sell them when it hits 152, sell some more at 155, 156, something like that. But that's the only one that really is
The
really worth anything right
So
now.
so Enphase has at least proved itself. I mean, I've said this a million times in a ton of stocks that we have the November bottom, you have the March higher low, and Enphase also has another higher low building here. But your top is kind of defined in these last couple candles, right at 138 or 140, somewhere right in there. I mean, that's the top. We are getting tighter, so I mean, at least we are kind of turning trend here. But I would want, I
Yeah.
mean, we've been here before. I'd want 190, 200 to be prevalent in the flow. And FSLR, I'm with you. That is the best one by far. Um, Again, November low, a little higher low, just kind of rangy and consolidating. But again, I want those 200s back. If it's not there, I think you're just kind of playing consolidation. We offer way better stuff, in my opinion.
I mean Enphase when I used to trade Enphase, it was ads around 120 to
Yeah,
220.
yeah.
And then 120 again to 200, and then 158 to 276, and you kind of get the idea all the way to 320. And that's when I started. I was just going to short it back to my levels. It went way beyond that. I had a put leap that went crazy, but yeah. So we're far away from those days. I just don't really see that. Things are kind of tightening up. I agree they do need a better catalyst. Enphase is a semiconductor stock, but it doesn't get that semiconductor love because it's attached to solar. So yeah, I mean, just continue to look for those. If Enphase does make a big flush off earnings back under $80 or something like that, probably worth a look. But yeah, still pretty bleak there. And then lastly, I've got like the anomaly to me in the whole clean energy is PCT,
Yes.
and just because it's like a flow driven kind of squeeze look, I still got 12C, 15C in the long dated calls on it. Um, yeah, pretty strong there.
Yeah, 55636. Well, we've been on it in collabs a bunch. Did get a little oversold at the start of the year, but yeah, when 630, when 650, 620, whatever, when this like breaks to confirmation, it's gonna go to $9, easily nine
Yeah,
bucks.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I like that a lot.
yeah.
Um,
That will show up on the hot list quite a bit.
Back to
And
just a note on the sector, solar sector. There's gonna be a winner, but it's gonna be singular, and you just have such headwinds with the political, um, just the feel you get from the politics. Like when Biden came into office, solar EV, all that stuff was like, yay, let's run it. And I mean, it didn't come to fruition with him. But when the other guy gets elected, if he does get elected, solar is not going to be what people think is going to have a good time under his administration. It's just not. It's going to be the oil
yeah,
companies that we talked about previously.
yeah. I mean, he says it every chance he gets. The
Yeah,
drill
drill,
baby drill.
drill, baby, drill.
And then last one, I this one actually it almost got booted, but then I looked at the flow page, so I wanted to talk about it. CLNE.
Okay.
Now November 3C 4C, kind of what I expected. But the dominant contract in this is actually
Fives.
January 2026 7C,
Oh, it sees the channel.
and then there's 10 and 12C and 15C as well. But 7C December 2026 is I asked myself, why would someone buy this? And retail's not buying that. 6,000 open interest.
Yeah, no.
It's the most dominant contract by a long shot. 600 were bought today. So I don't know.
Yeah, they're oversold for sure. They just had a report a couple weeks ago that met expectations. I don't know exactly what they do, but we're down here now at the insider ownership price. That's when you're going to see buybacks and stuff like that. 250 is definitely support on this stock. I have no problem adding this and holding this from a shares perspective, especially if you can hold on to it for a while. Good
So this is
treat it like a bill stock for me.
a alternative fuel for vehicle fleet. So natural gas for trucks and also the whatever people do with that biofuels, like the cooking oil shit and stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's what they do. Founded by T. Boone Pickens, who's from Oklahoma. He's a big. He died now, but he was like a big college donor around
Yeah, about
here.
to say,
Pretty
isn't
much.
everything on the campus his name?
Yeah, that's Oklahoma State. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, the stadium, and he pretty much resurrected their whole football program. But yeah, so that's what they do. So they're not like purely green energy. I mean, it is natural gas. So natural gas turns around, that's going to push this too.
What do you have on Givo? That'd be the only one I'd add here to the topic list. is their jet fuel, biofuel jet fuel. They had the pilot program at O'Hare. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, one C for November.
what about
That's
leaps?
plausible.
You got any leaps?
Leaps are 1.5 and 2.
Okay, so we're just waiting on that then. Okay,
Yeah.
interesting.
The 11,000 open interest on January 1.5C. Another one of those I talk about. If they can get out, they will. So if it goes to 1, it's very likely going to go to 150. That would be my take on it.
Perfect, perfect. Now, I think the other two are way better short term.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
you'll get you'll get in a position and be up in the position and can just manage or hold on to it um, until the full move happens. I really like. I thought PCT with it, but I do like this clean energy with the backstory and being on this level now.
So I'm going to ask you a dumb question that I get a lot, and then I have my answer, and I'll give you your answer. Why bother with any of these stocks? Why don't we just trade? Why don't we just trade Nvidia every day and Tesla?
Well,
You know,
because
why don't?
these are boring. Like they're boring and needed. Like you're not gonna have good commerce or anything without these energy plays. Like it's
Yeah,
it's the
yep,
power behind it. They're bigger, older companies. The growth, I guess, is a little more less top ended. You get a company like Nvidia, Tesla, even their growth is unlimited. These guys, their growth might not be unlimited, but you have to have them. I mean, we don't have to have Nvidia if I don't know if a solar one of them solar flares takes everything out. We're still gonna need
yeah,
fucking gas. We're just gonna
right,
need
right.
gas. You're not getting
Yeah.
away from it, and until we can get away from it, they're the standard. They're needed. So for me, it's about that rotation of market share. Who can be the bigger fish in the pond, and that constantly changes, and why you need to be on these.
Um, yeah, absolutely. And I think from the a trading standpoint, in the like a practical options outlook here is so in options, what do you need for SMCI to make any money? You need 5%, 7%. Um, other than that, it gets pretty gets pretty risky. Greeks are unfavorable, all that stuff. Same with coin. I trade coin all the time because I read it well, but you want that 10% pop on coin to really make the trade work. Oxy, um, 2-3%, massive day. And the thing is, you get in our spots, and you're going to get a lot of days like that. So the idea of just having a manageable trade, a manageable move, that has a lot of appeal to me. And then I think as far as like swing trading goes, you get in some of these at our spots, you're protecting your account from yourself. I think you don't want the people who have an options account that they burn the whole thing every day, win or lose. That's not a way to build anything long term. Because you have a bad day, you feel like you need to make it back the next day. Now you got 2 bad days. Next thing you know, you're reloading your account, your next paycheck. So you don't want that. So I think the getting the 20-40% in options over a couple weeks on some of these, you'll start to really appreciate that kind of trade. So that's why we focus so much on these.
Yeah, yeah, and even with Nvidia, I was way up in Nvidia, and I was still worried about the range on that every day because it does have such violent moves, and you just don't get that in these sector. They're a lot cleaner, they're a lot more stable, because people that own them ain't letting them go. They're not.
Yeah,
They will these shares to their kids. I say that all the time. That who's going to do that? But this is the stuff that people hang out in if they're going to will their shares to their kids.
yeah, absolutely.
Good stuff, Pete. Good to go. Like and subscribe for more.
Yeah, yeah, we're good. We're good.
Good stuff.